Brother, are you all right?
No, I am not all right. I just shared a bottle of Kanar with Damar. That rhymes.
You're drunk.
Of course I'm drunk.
And now for something completely different.
Oh, greetings and salutations, everyone. Yes, this is going to be something slightly different. Oh, hang on. Let's go ahead and... There we go. It's going to be a different kind of show tonight because we got a different type of topic coming on. So, yeah, it's not going to be your typical sci-fi flair here. It's actually going to more be, oh, how shall we say, appropriately done? Yeah, we'll go that way. We had some fun in the Discord server this week. We watched a marathon. 4 hours. But 4 hours well worth it. In my opinion, at least. Hey, so Jay, how much you got left?
I have, according to this, 28 minutes left, but I'm pretty sure we're pretty much at the end of it. But I have to say, I didn't notice many changes.
Well, Laura, you weren't able to hear them because they weren't talking.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like Donkey's attitude there. Without telling you not to do it, well, we told you that you could either vote for that or get put in a sin bin.
And, last time we did something like that, it was, we're watching this or paint drying, and some people thought it was a great idea to vote for paint drying. Not saying that I wasn't one of them, but...
I would have been one of them, too.
Oh, no, I did vote for paint drying simply to see if anyone else would follow, thinking it was a joke. No, it wasn't a joke. We actually watched paint drying for an hour?
2 hours.
Oh, almost 2 hours? Yeah. And then we actually ended up watching something else. But see, that's the thing. When you are given options, and when you are warned what the consequences of certain options are, we mean it.
You know what, Jared? I think I need to get you a sound clip from a particular Indiana Jones movie. He chose poorly.
Yes. Oh, it's almost like there are some people out there that when you are given a warning, it's for a reason.
I mean...
Oh!
Hmm?
Donkey does bring up a good point that, Donkey, if you want to come on and support that notion, this will be a rather interesting one, because he says, still think paint drying would be better than Snyder DC.
I'm not going to say he's not wrong, but he's not wrong. This is that flash in a pan that doesn't really bode well for the rest of it.
Oh, you mean like how even Michael Bay can make a movie that isn't complete dogshit explosions everywhere?
Which movie was that?
I think it was his first one.
I was going to say it wasn't anything Transformers related.
Or anything recent.
Wait, Donkey, what parts of it did you watch?
I unfortunately had the mispleasure of watching the Ninja Turtles, the Transformers, All the rest are kind of blurred out because it's Michael Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, but here...
I have not seen Tenet, to be honest, and I do want to watch that one.
Same here. I haven't seen it, but it has garnered the right kind of feedback from people that I'm willing to give it a chance. But so, for those who don't know, this past week we did watch Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League in the Discord server, which really isn't much different than what we do most Wednesdays, where we watch 1 to 2 movies, and so a 4-hour one movie is not unheard of. So
No, don't give me. Like, I would rather watch the MCU than Snyder, but that's like, do I want a wisdom tooth pulled or just a molar pulled? Really? I mean, is it really one a picnic and the other not?
and here we go. I just get a message. Guess I need a link. Oh, give me.
I could go for that, Icarus.
No, we need to take the furthest step, or the furthest away from the Shire.
Oh God.
What?
You know what? Whenever I hear
bad.
someone, whenever I hear someone mention that, I think of the clip where every time Sam takes a step after that, it's
That's the
just
one.
him repeating it over
That's the one.
and over. And just no. Okay. There are some edits that are done to movies that actually bring creative value to it. Like earlier today, I came across an edit of the hotel fight scene from John Wick 2, where they replaced all the sound effects with sound effects from Half-Life 2. And it is
Okay, now that would be quality.
that was phenomenal. That level of editing, of taking Half-Life 2 audio and putting it to John Wick, and how well they did it, especially seeing as how instead of Keanu Reeves' lines, instead of the dialogue, they even took dialogue from the game. However, every time John Wick spoke in that clip, it was the sprinting sound. So, bit of humor, but well done. So there are edits that can be done in a proper way. And I would say this redo of Justice League is just that, because now you get how shall we say, a coherent fucking story in the movie. I mean, kind of matters.
You mean having something that you can actually care about in the fucking story? Having characters that have an impact on the story?
Well, and showing more depth to certain characters, actually getting to flesh out characters and actually go through enough of a story arc to make it an actual enjoyable experience as well. Because let's be honest, in the original cut of Justice League, there were moments where you had to have been questioning, why is this character even here? Like,
You're not
they're
talking
there.
about a cyborg at all.
No, not at all. But storytelling and comic book related issues aside, there was a lot of good to this movie too, that is actually coming from a non-canon, non-informative mindset, just in how the movie was structured and how artistically it was displayed. That was actually one of the things that got me through a bulk of the movie, is just how well in the editing, in the post work, where they were adjusting lighting and the tone of everything, how they actually helped craft the story just by the artistic direction alone.
I
You
think
mean
that-
almost like fleshing out a story and letting the director tell the story they want to tell? Say it ain't so.
I always think that a good example of that would be, let's see, what did I call them? Jail, Saturation, and Order. There's a one marked with 2 and one without a number.
So while that's being brought up, hey, Donkey, let's go ahead and get a mic check there.
Hey, how's it going? Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are. That is the wonderful thing about this. Audio can work. Yay! Not having the issues that Chase on Two Wheels had the other day, which trying to do a stream from a workshop that has a metal roof in the middle of a downpour in Georgia, not a good idea.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen?
Bit of background noise.
Oh, that was an understatement. The rain sounded like an oversaturated white noise from a hot mic. It was coming down that hard and that heavy. Okay, Icarus? We could set something up like that, but it would have to be on a weekend, not a weekday. And
I'm not sure how I feel about the Hobbit movies, though.
I will say I enjoyed the first Hobbit movie, just the first one, better than some of the Lord of the Rings ones. Just because it was a more fun movie. I'm not saying that it was book accurate or that it was like anything like that, but just as a movie on its own, I found it enjoyable.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. With the number of deviations and the nonsensical additions that they made in the Hobbit movies, they were okay. They were all right. They didn't want to make me leave the theater if I was watching in a theater. But,
yeah.
they definitely paled in comparison to the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
And the second and the third one aren't as good as the first one. Don't get me wrong, but the first one, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think it's a fun movie.
I just feel like you could do so much more with this setting in it. You could do so much more with just having it as a separate movie, having it as a shorter movie, the way that the book actually is.
Yeah, it probably would have been wise to keep it as like the 2 movies that they were originally planning. Though I do get the wanting to put in like some of the stuff of where Gandalf is going and what's up with him, and stuff like that. But
yeah, some of the additions made sense there, like taking from the Silmarillion to explain what Gandalf was doing off on his own. Good touch.
Yeah,
good touch.
Why does he just keep disappearing?
Yeah, but the addition of oh god, what the frick was her name? Tauriel, and that inane love side story.
Oh yeah.
Especially when the actress herself said, I don't want to be a part of a love triangle, I don't want my character to be a part of a love triangle again. And what happened? Oh, right. Tauriel was the fulcrum of a love triangle with a dwarf and Legolas.
Yeah.
So much for that happening.
Yeah. But that's actually something where so many movies today suffer from that, or so many movies the last decade, where they try to make it fun and more involved to the
Yeah.
point where they add elements that make no fucking sense to it.
Yeah, like the first movie seemed like, oh, this is going to be a different tone from the Lord of the Rings. It's going to be a happier, more, just kind of, it's its own thing. And then the next two movies seemed like, oh, we're the Lord of the Ring movies. Those did really well. We should pull a bunch of stuff from them, and it just didn't fit.
Yeah. But that was actually getting back onto the actual topic.
Oh yeah,
You have that happen with the initial iteration of Justice League, and then the Zack Snyder cut is you get a complete change in tone while using a healthy portion of the same material, which just goes to show how much a story can be affected by how the editing process goes, and also how much influence changing a director will be on a movie.
well, he also had 3 years to make his own cut. Like let's not scoff at that. That is a ton of extra time on top of the time that they already had filmed.
Well, so here's the thing with that whole 3 years to work on it. The actual amount of work that went into the Zack Snyder cut was basically if they had done another round of reshoots on the original, which is effectively what they did. The bulk of the time was actually spent in post-production stuff, cleaning up CGI. As a matter of fact, they changed the appearance on the CGI side. They changed the appearance of the main antagonist that we actually see. And they've actually made it more of the full story with actually showing Darkseid. So you have those additions that were necessary, that should have been there in the first place, but weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are two pictures showing that off too there. With just a side by side with, well, old Steppenwolf and new Steppenwolf.
Yeah. Davros, I don't. So I've heard other things than him just getting the green light last year. He did over $70 million in reshoots. Now, obviously, a lot of that is to pay the actors to come back, some of whom didn't want to be in the movie to begin with. Yeah, no, and I'm not saying that there aren't things that are probably better in the Snyder Cut from the original, being that the original was no good.
Well,
just kind of depends on where you're setting your bar, I guess.
Well, let's just start with having a decent, coherent story.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, if Jay had finished watching the movie, he could bring up those pictures too.
No, I don't want to bring up those pictures.
Oh, too bad. Can you do it anyway?
Which one am I starting with?
Start with the ones called Jail, Saturation, and Order.
All right.
But yeah, Davros brings up, it's Darkseid is how you say his name.
I like needling people sometimes.
All right. Which one is it? That one.
I guess this is showing the start of the Snyder version. And as we can see, it's very desaturated. And this
Yes.
is the beginning of the movie. It starts with, well, showing off the mother boxes. Right after Superman's death in, was it Batman vs. Superman?
Yeah.
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 And this here shows off why the fuck the mother boxes were actually activated in the first place. And just randomly sometime afterwards. They were activated by, well, Superman's death scream, so to speak. And if you then click over to the gel saturation in order 2, this is some, what is it, 20, 30 minutes into the movie? Not just from a saturation standpoint, but from a movie perspective standpoint too. This is a far bit into the movie. It's a fourth into the movie, and now they're showing off the mother boxes and trying to explain what is actually going on with the mother boxes. It's activating now for some reason.
And you know what? Hang on. I need to go ahead and bring something into show because this is going to be relevant for... Where is it? There it is. All right. Let's just go ahead and put the spoiler warning up there, because I don't want to have to be overly careful with what we're going to talk about it. So with that whole thing about why did the mother boxes start waking up in the first place, it took a bit of time to start going through and following the different characters to get everything established and how it's all coming together. But right before the entire group up actually starts to happen, Diana actually picked up on what was going on before the greatest detective in all of reality, supposedly.
Who does like no detective work at all, or at least none of any consequence in any of the Snyder movies.
Not just the Schneider movies, just the recent iterations. Even in the Nolan movies, you're not really shown Batman living up to the whole greatest detective moniker.
Not the greatest, no, but at least he does some detective work. He does some. You get some hints of it. Definitely not the level that I would like to see, but.
And not the level that we got in, say, Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
But
there's some good Batman.
Yes. But with that, you get that realization from them of the characters actually finally getting something click. It started waking up when Batman died. They stayed asleep because they were afraid of him.
You mean Superman?
Yeah, sorry. When Superman died is when everything started kicking off with the mother boxes, and that whole thought of they're afraid because they realized that the linchpin for that could stop them was Superman. Now, granted, Superman is one hell of a powerful being throughout all comic universes. But I will give him a knock in this one because he comes off as a bit too OP. Because while there were touches there that were nice about how, yeah, Batman's fast, but on the same speed as the Flash.
You mean Superman? You did it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that controversy, even in the comics, is never settled on who was faster, Batman or the Flash, or Superman or the Flash. Now you got me doing it, damn it.
It is in most cases it is left ambiguous. But if you actually look into the larger mythology of the Flash, he is the fastest being because he generates the Speed Force. He doesn't just tap into it; he generates it. I mean, he outran death for 30 years. Literally.
Yeah.
With this, though, it shows or rather, in the recut of it, the Snyder's version, it shows a different version of the Flash. It shows a different version of Barry, where it makes more sense to have him get stacked up against Superman, and his reactions to it there. Jay, if you want to bring up Jail Barry Reaction 5 or Jail Barry 5 reaction, which is right where, well, the Flash is trying to ambush or get to Superman, and he's trying to run past him.
Yeah, and Superman's turning his head to follow him, and he's just like, "What the actual fuck?"
It's like, wait, he can move as fast as me. Yeah, that whole thing, it just, there are little things like that when you're looking at it that either Superman was really holding back in other movies and other iterations, and this is just him being unhinged and completely unreleased because of how he was brought back, and he was essentially a primal instinct blank slate for this initial bit. Or they really wanted to ratchet up just how important and how the bee's knees Superman is.
Yeah.
At this point in time, though, I think that we can say the Flash didn't really need to use his full potential. He had never met anything up to this point that actually warranted it. And there is the introductory scene to the Flash that shows that perfectly well, where he is trying to apply for a job at it's something to do with pets, a dog sitter, whatever it is.
It's a pet salon. It looked like they did pretty much everything. Pet sitting, grooming, bathing, the whole shebang. And he was signing up to be a dog walker. And this is one of those wonderful touches that they threw in there on the graphic side that was so well worth it. And also, again, displayed the character in a way that makes you actually want to know more and actually connect with him. Because when an accident is happening at the intersection just outside the building, his instincts kick in, and all he does is turn, and they go in and show his tennis shoes ripping apart from the energy that he's using. So he's barefoot and goes towards the door, and this is one of the thumbnails, one of the images you got that is really was one of the good uses of slow-mo in this movie.
I was gonna say, and I'll be honest, I didn't sit down for the 4 hours and watch the movie. I've seen a few random parts or whatever. And I'm not going to. I'm sorry, I just don't like the Snyder movies that much. But I heard that the overuse of slow-mo was kind of a detraction, especially when you have a super speed character and you have slow-mo of all the characters.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there was definite overuse, like making the joke of how good luck finding a Michael Bay movie without an explosion or 100. Certain directors have what they're known for,
Yeah.
sadly.
It's knowing how to
J.J.
use it, though.
Abrams and the lens flare.
Oh god.
Yeah.
But then
I
looking at-
will say the one thing that both movies had that I think was a nod to the the X-Men side of the X-Men side of the MCU before they merged, before Fox and Disney kind of merged everything, was in the, I want to say it's X-Men's Days of the Future's Past, where Wolverine ends up going back in time.
Yep.
They're getting Magneto out of the prison, and they have Quicksilver running around the room, deflecting bullets and everything. You get that same nod with the Flash here, and tapping Diana's sword back at her.
Yep. Well, and not just that scene, but that initial introduction when he goes towards the glass door, pokes it and shatters the door, and then gets to in position to save this woman he literally just bumped into.
Oh,
But-
no.
Well-
That's not that's not just somebody he bumped into. That's Iris West.
Yeah.
It is, but the way it's portrayed here,
I
this is where this actually opens up as a good lead-in to follow-on movies, because you have an introduction of a character and that connection that can be built upon later. It's not until later in other things that we find out that it's Iris West. But you get a glimpse into who Barry is as a person here, where it happens. He's there in such a time and going with so much of his energy and in use in this, and has relatively slowed everything down around him to the point that he's literally picking hot dogs out of the air and putting them in his pockets because he knows he's going to need them. While then, okay, I need to manipulate her in this such a way to then move her in this such a way so when everything stops, she doesn't just go splat. You have that sort of attention to detail from the character, while also, let's admit it, being rather immature and childlike in an almost endearing way.
Oh, come on now. You always got to carry a hot dog around for when you're walking dogs. Got to keep their attention on you.
Yeah, and in this case, it shows that he can actually think ahead, knowing that, okay, shit, I've fucked up with the resume. It wasn't an abysmal condition. However, here I have something that can still tip in my favor.
Yeah, it is.
It shows that.
Go ahead.
Go on.
No, go for it, Liam.
No, it just shows that, unlike the first version or the original version, he wasn't just a joking airhead, so to speak. He didn't just have his speed to rely on. He's actually clever.
Yeah, there's more to the character than just, oh, he's super fast. I mean, that was throughout the entire thing. I think that's what really impressed me the most, is how they could take such an amount of original material and yet tell a better story where you're actually getting depth to the characters. Another moment that showed the depth to the characters, they're all on top of the building talking with Commissioner Gordon. The other three fuck off when Gordon turns around. Gordon turns back and Barry's left there like, oh shit, they just left. That's really rude.
And then he proceeds to leave.
And then he does it too.
did we talk about the elephant in the room too? Or at least something somewhat slightly grey?
Go for it.
Cyborg. The character that was rather underutilized in the original. And then afterwards, he was actually used for something good. Because in the original, yeah, he's brooding in the fucking flat. And then he meets Diana. And then after that, well, I don't know. He just kind of is there.
Yeah, you don't really get that explanation of why is he there? What's actually brought him there? You're introducing this character but not telling us anything about it. And we get another step of wonderful artistic use of the coloring and the tone of what they show when they go into the vignette of what his background was, what his history is that brought him to that point. And that show of him being a loose cannon academically at college while being a star athlete, but not a dumb jock, someone who actually knows what he's doing, to where he hacked into the school's system to change the grades of a friend who was going through the loss of family that the administration of the school honestly didn't care enough about to give the friend, to give the other student an opportunity to put things on hold. They were more concerned about other priorities of the school. And Cyborg here decided to take it upon himself to do the right thing, regardless of the consequences against him.
Yeah, that's something you didn't get that in the original cut. It just showed him as a, well, two-dimensional character. He didn't really have any motivations. He didn't have anything that what made him human enough to want to connect with him. And now, well, he's a fully fleshed out character.
And not just that, you end up getting, because you're finally told of what his background is and what brought him to this and why he's acting in the way that he is at the beginning of it. Now we get progression of the character. Now we get reason for change and the choices that the character makes later on. Like when they go to resurrect Superman. And that still distant, but you're getting a little bit of a breaking of the ice between him and his father. Which then the father ends up sacrificing himself, and you end up seeing a lot of
the human side of him coming out to realize that he still wanted his dad as part of his life, even though when we find him, he's blaming his father for everything.
Quite literally everything. Yeah, and these are the types of lauded storytelling elements that were missing from the first one. But again, this is what happens when you start a project with one director, get a sizable amount of way into the project and filming, and then you swap out for a different director who has a wildly different style.
Let's be honest, though, the switch out wasn't like a planned thing, or wasn't because they didn't like Zack Snyder like that.
No, there were mitigating
family,
circumstances.
Yeah, stuff going on. Yeah. So, like that was something that was unplanned and just had to happen. So
yeah, well,
Or what they did with it afterwards.
Oh, I'm not you know, saying any of that. I was just
I'm not saying that they pulled a Discovery here where they canned the showrunner just because well, shit, it's not going the way we thought it would, so let's bring in this other one, and here you go, try to fix it. No, I'm not. I wasn't alluding to that. It was
Or Star Wars.
Yeah, you had a director who actually had a good vision and a good story to tell that had to leave the project, and then rather than shelf a project that they dumped a lot of financial backing into, they had to keep it going, and the only way to do that is to bring on a replacement director. I think they made a mistake by choosing Whedon for it, because holy shit, talk about bringing in the complete opposite side of the coin when it comes to how to tell a story visually and thematically. I mean, that is one of the things that stood out to me, and I even commented during the movie of this, praising it, how it was using the color and art direction to help tell the story, starting from a very grim, very grayed out beginning, and then bringing in pops of color here and there. And over the course of the movie, it got brighter, the colors got more vibrant, it came back to life as you were watching the movie, which fits the overall storyline that and the actual story that was being told, and it fit it beautifully. But then look at the original version, look at Whedon's version.
There's a screenshot there called unnecessary content.
Yes, I saw those. You want me to start with the first one?
Yeah, the one just called unnecessary content. Unnecessary. Yes, that's the one. Yeah, we can tell here just how fucking confused that movie was.
Yeah. I mean, put this scene visually into another movie. I mean, hell, have Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot in a romantic comedy, and this looks like it would be a scene from that movie.
Or even just a romantic drama or any other type of movie. You would be able to tell, it fit that storyline better than whatever it was that was done in 2017.
Yeah.
Especially since here she's talking, well, in the original version, she's talking about Steppenwolf coming to Earth before this. And how, well, he wreaked fucking havoc, and they were supposed to start a unity which would turn Earth into another version of his home planet somehow. And so on and such forth. It's a screenshot, Old Fight 2.
Yeah. I'll get that here.
Which, I don't know about you, but just looking at that there, when it pops up, it just does not seem to be matching. It seems like they had two different directions even there.
Yeah. And then you have that one from the new version of it, which fits with the visuals of the rest of the movie better. The way we're being told the story and this history fits with the overall theme and how everything has been going to that point. And also, I will give Schneider credit for actually...
Schneider.
Yeah.
I want the Schneider cut.
Schneider. But...
Doesn't arrive till Tuesday.
All right.
Timing?
Tuesday, we'll watch it then.
Well, now it arrives Tuesday. We'll have to watch it on Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Well, perfect.
Yeah. So, with the change of that bit of expose, that bit of necessary background material and exposition was done in the way it should have been. And it actually opened up and made more sense with the rest of the background and extra material that needed to be hinted at Like, it wasn't Steppenwolf who was the primary villain here. He was just an
Harbinger.
outcast, well, an outcast underling trying to make good and get back into the good graces of who was actually in charge.
Which this makes it better since, well, here we see the original Steppenwolf, and he looks generic as all fuck. He looks like a character you take out of Skyrim.
It looks like a knockoff Loki from the Avengers.
Yeah, as opposed to the new Steppenwolf, which I admit the screenshot there is kind of shitty. But you see someone who looks so much more menacing in every aspect. I mean, just looking at the hands, the new Steppenwolf has what, 7 fingers? We can't really see it here.
Yeah,
But
and
it's a more alien character, and it's someone who's way more imposing in every sense.
Well, and the armor, just the way it rippled and moved and had a life of its own.
Without sounding like a mechanics factory from fucking Transformer.
Yeah. How
no,
it,
that's gonna be Steppenwolf's backstory.
But I just like that. In all of that, Steppenwolf was someone who tried to get home. He did all this. He was desperate in order to get home again. He had raised how many worlds? He'd just gone over so many fucking worlds. He had formed them in the image of Darkseid or Darkseid, whichever it is. Darksman.
Side.
But with all that, he had done so much, and still he couldn't come home. They were talking about, what was it, 10,000 more worlds? Or 100,000 more worlds? And now he has a chance. If you look at JL equation, he has a chance to actually go back. He has a chance to use this and finally be able to go home.
well, not just go home, but be accepted at the side of his liege. Because that's the thing, is he's going through this crusade through, he's going to conquer all these worlds to try to prove his worth to Darkseid, because that was where he thought he belonged. That's where he was striving towards, and he made a mistake. He failed and got pushed aside. Didn't get completely fired, didn't get killed. He was shown mercy in that latitude, but that's almost, in situations like that, that is worse than a death sentence. Because
By the way, does anybody else want to listen to the Grateful Dead after looking at this?
little bit.
But seeing all of this, you all of a sudden have more of a backstory with Steppenwolf too. It gives him some form of character. He isn't just somewhat evil. He's not just the boogeyman. He's a character that you can care for, and that you can actually, well, not completely what's it called, empathize. I can't words tonight. Yeah, empathize. You know what I mean. I'm starting to sound like fucking Rich Evans. Yeah. You can't empathize with him, but it's something where you can still see where he's coming from. He's not just someone who's there. He's not just flavor of the weak evil.
Yeah, the reasons behind it are actually fleshed out. You actually get an inkling of why he's there, why he's tracking down the mother boxes. And that was another thing is, they didn't know. This is one of the things, and we even criticized it during it, that on the writing side, there were some gaffes, there were some mistakes. Like, thousands and thousands of years ago, an attempted invasion of Earth was made that was turned back by the joining of forces between the forces of man, the forces of Atlantis, and the forces of the Amazon. Which is why the 3 mother boxes were then divvied up between the 3 of them to keep them safe, just in case it ever happened again, kind of thing.
And all put under the worst protection.
Yeah. But Darkseid was there. Darkseid was injured severely and carried off the battlefield, and they left the planet. But then can't fucking remember what planet it was that he got his ass kicked on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd
It
think
made more
that's-
sense in the original cut with it being Steppenwolf being the one who fought the original battle and it not being Darkseid.
Yeah, that is one thing that made more sense there. Because you would know, hey, this is where it happened before. I'm in a better state now. I can... Oh, and plus they don't have the Kryptonian. That was actually even something that was mentioned in the Snyder Cut, is that you have them mentioning there's no Green Lantern, there's no Kryptonian, there's no unity between the factions. They're splintered. They can be conquered.
Oh, but I mean, like, the Kryptonians only been around for a few decades. So you're telling me at no point before this was there a splinter, or was there a better point to wake up when there was less superheroes around?
But then again, did they know before that the mother boxes were actually on Earth? They were inert.
And again, they lost the knowledge of where the mother boxes were prior to them waking up and literally calling to them. And they lost the record or any knowledge that this was the planet that they tried it out on once before and lost and were sent running. Regardless of who was at the head of that army, you're gonna remember where you were when you got your ass kicked and had to run away. Unless it's happening so frequently that you're not the actual intergalactic superpower you think you are.
Yeah. Then why are we scared of you?
Exactly.
No, he just forgot to bookmark it in GPS.
No. He forgot to bookmark it on Chrome with Google Maps.
I think there's a planet over here. We'll just send you to that one.
That and he was using darts when he's, trying to remember which one.
I was thinking Invader Zim, but yeah, that works too.
We'll send you all the way over to this post-it note.
It's been too long since I've actually watched him, so.
Oh,
Well, we are almost done with Trigun on Monday.
yep. That might be a fun one to start up.
But from the chat, Rodent says, new Suicide Squad looks interesting. Past track record says otherwise. It's funny.
But it's not the same director. I don't know if it's the same writers.
It's funny he mentions that, though, because there's a bit of a throw-in towards... It's probably, about 2/3 of the way through the movie? It was before the final boss fight where Batman's having dreams. Rather unsettling dreams. And it goes into a lot of the other side canon and expanded canon from the comics. And I will say this. They bring back Jared Leto as the Joker. and they let him play the Joker that they should have used in Suicide Squad in this movie.
Also, why is Batman now all of a sudden like prophetic or whatever?
We don't know.
Because it makes no sense to his character. Like, never in the comics was he like that type of character.
Well,
And there's plenty of DC characters that are. So it's not like they don't have access to like mystical beings in the DC side or ways that they could do that stuff.
He himself doesn't necessarily have to be psychic, though. You have plenty of influences among the DC people, too.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way that they're probably going to play it, in that he was being sent these visions, he was being sent this knowledge by someone else. Because
By the Watchers?
Maybe. Because you get a good amount of opening up to actually crafting a passable movie universe for DC from this movie. Between Deathstroke, between the Martian Manhunter, and also the way they actually went into more of the backstories of Barry Allen in The Flash and Cyborg. Now those are characters that you can build off of and explore, trying to garner not the same, but similar success that Marvel has had with their movie universe.
Yeah,
it
if
would
I
be nice
remember correctly,
Davros is asking about Star Trek 6.
Oh, Davros, you might want to go back and watch our movie review of that one. I pulled some material from a paper I wrote for college years back on that movie. Yes, I took a film analysis course in college, and that was the one I decided to write my end of the semester paper on. The professor didn't want to let me do it at first, but then when I gave him just the rough bullet points of why, like where I was going, he was like, okay, I want to read that, so go ahead and write it.
So they've announced supposedly Justice League Part 2 and a standalone Deathstroke movie.
Knock off Deadpool.
Oh, come on now.
I mean, he literally is, though. Like that is like
I know.
not his origin story in the comics, but his origin story for the writer of the comic.
No, I know.
And that's where it's going to get interesting, because I think you're going to end up with more of those comparisons being made and being rehashed. Because when I was growing up and it was the comics and the couple animated series on TV, that was something that always came up between the DC and Marvel factions is, oh, well, you just ripped off this character from us, and you have that bickering back and forth. But now that more people are being exposed to both franchises through the TV and movie media, where more of the characters, more of the stories behind the characters are actually being utilized and expressed, those conversations are going to be coming back around again by people who weren't a part of them 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean they a lot of them were ripoffs of the other one or whatever, because the writer, like Green Arrow, the original Green Arrow and the original Hawkeye, literally are written by the same person. I think he was working on Green Arrow first, and he wanted to do a story that DC wouldn't let him do, so he left and went over to Marvel.
And got to write the story he wanted.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
But you also have the same thing in reverse on the other side too. You've had Marvel writers go over to write for DC. It's just
Right, or go to independent so that they can own the character instead of losing rights to the character. Yeah, yeah. I'm not siding with one company over the other, or saying that it's industry wide.
I'm one of those people when it comes to comics. It's like, yeah, DC's got their good stuff, Marvel's got their good stuff, the independents have their good stuff.
Yep.
I just like to read it.
Oh, agreed.
Keep it coming.
With the different characters, though, and moving ahead now from this, in the sense of how do we proceed forward? I would not mind them having this long form movie format just going ahead too. Because, well, as with the image you brought up earlier there, Jay,
Which
it's
one?
in parts. It's
Oh,
a
yeah,
4-hour movie,
Yeah.
but it's divided up in such a way that you don't have to necessarily watch it all in one go.
I mean, for the digital releases, though, once things get back to normal and theaters open back up, would you go see this in a theater?
If it was 4 hours, it would be a stretch for me.
Yeah, 4 hours, one shot. You know.
If it was as good as this has been, yes, I would. I do
Yeah,
not
I could
mind
s-
that.
Yeah. Now, if they botched it up, say made the original 4 hours long, I would probably not go
fuck
back
that.
to watch another 4 hour movie from them.
Because I mean, 3 hours is a stretch for me. When I see a movie is 3 hours long, I start debating it.
Well, and
So-
that's where you have to look at. Agreed. You have to look at the history of the production team, of the director and the writers that are putting that out, because there are some movies that are longer runtimes but don't seem like it. Like
True.
a couple of the Lord of the Rings movies, the initial theatrical cut did not seem as long as they were. Braveheart did not seem as long as it was the first time you watched it. Saving Private Ryan, that is the thing. When you have a good story that you're telling, even if it has that longer lead up and has that longer pacing and needs the longer runtime, as long as it is a good story being told in an effective way, people are going to lose track of time. Because I remember when I walked out of Two Towers, walked out, enjoyed the movie, looked at the clock and was like, holy shit, the movie was that long?
Yeah.
When you're losing that sense of time from watching a movie, that is the ultimate sign that the movie actually pulled you into the story it was telling, because everything else outside of it didn't matter for the time that you were watching it.
Yeah.
Trying to remember what movie I watched last in theater that was fairly long, and I was like, "Wow, oh my god, really?"
Take something like Blade Runner, both the original Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049, I think it is.
Yeah.
They are fairly long movies, but they don't really feel as long as they are. Not because you have a lot of action going on all the time, not because you have this riveting interpersonal fucking reaction going on all the time, but because there's always something there for you to focus on. Even walking through the orange dust cloud what is it, middle point of the movie? There's still stuff there. There's still stuff going on and stuff for your brain to work with to make it just feel like it's or like not as much time has actually passed.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing that it really comes down to, is there are certain studio heads and certain producers who have it stuck in their head that, oh, we can't, doesn't matter the movie type, doesn't matter the story, we can't go over X runtime because people don't have the attention span. You might be surprised, jackasses, if you actually wrote a good enough story that required that amount, a longer runtime, and actually did it appropriately.
Yeah.
Yeah, Davros brings up a good point. Aliens, the theatrical release in the mid-'80s, it was a 2-hour movie. But at the same time...
Which would have been super long for back then.
No. Actually, in the 80s, hour and a half, 2 hour, an hour and a half movie was actually a short movie.
Was it? Because most of the movies that I remember from the 80s and 90s are an hour and a half.
90s.
Dead stop.
90s, yes. It was the late 80s, so like 88, 89, and early 90s is when you start getting that switch to a shorter, quicker paced movie. But you still had your movies that were longer runs, like Schindler's List.
Yeah. Oh no, I by no means was I saying all movies or whatever, but okay. I was thinking that even in the 80s, because a lot of the ones that I can think of that were theatric release, not that they don't have a longer version, but are still an hour and a half. But
well, here's another reason behind the runtime issue that at this point is on fucking life support. One of the big pushes for the shorter runtime movies
is the theaters.
Turnover in the theaters.
Yep.
If the movies are shorter, you can show the same movie more times in a day, which means you can get more ticket sales and more butts in the seats.
Yep. And the more, like, if all the movies are closer to the same time slot, then it's easier to show one movie like in the morning and a different movie in the afternoon. Or if you have to switch between movies, it's easier to line up schedules for the different theaters and stuff like that. Where if you've got a bunch of different movies that are all running at different time slots like you do nowadays, like that schedule becomes more of a pain for the staff that have to manage the theater. Not so much the starting and stopping of the movies, because that's done by computers, but the cleaning of the theaters and getting people into the theater and out of the theater.
Yep.
E.T. was an hour and 55 minutes in 82.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, and even early 90s, Jurassic Park, the first one, just over 2 hours theatrical release. So you still had those moments, but it was that transitional period in the 90s is when by the late 90s, you had the 90-minute plus or minus runtimes. If they release stuff like WandaVision on a weekly basis, and I could pay like $3 a ticket for a 1-hour feature, I'd yeah. These days, people binge watch entire TV series. I think they can handle a 4-hour movie. Yes, Rex. See, that is what I'm saying is, if they can get the storytelling and actually tell the story effectively, you would not notice the runtime. Like, honestly, we were planning a midstream, just a short bathroom and drink refill break we were watching.
And go ahead, sorry.
But because of how the story was being told, we went to like the 2.5 hour mark, 2 hours, 40 minutes before we were like, okay, we need to stop so people can do a bathroom break, and refill anything. We went over what our plan was for when to do the break, simply because the story was actually moving along and bringing us along with it to where, oh shit, it's already been going for this long?
Yeah, I'm with God's Auditor. If they start doing 4-hour movies, they're going to need to bring back 15-minute intermissions. like that's my thing. Is it's like at home, you know, if you're streaming it or whatever,
You can
it's
pause.
it's not that I can't be the movie can't hold my attention for 4 hours, but if I need to pause to grab some food or to go to the bathroom or whatever, I can do that. If I'm in a movie theater, well, I'm gonna miss a chunk of the movie, so I've got to time it for when I think is going to be the worst part of the movie, or I've just gotta dip out and hope I don't miss something really good.
Yeah. And that's where I agree. I agree with that whole instituting the intermission. It makes sense. And if they were to do that, yes, you're going back to the golden age of screen by doing that. But you know what? They were able to tell a damn good story back then, too. And we have a lot of story material to pull from that they can make into a movie of just existing stuff, let alone the new stories that they could come up with. Tell a good story. People will want to watch it.
Yeah. Oh, and I mean, this doesn't prove the rule or whatever, but because we were talking about long movies that were done before, you also have Gone with the Wind, which is a movie that is way too long. That's from what, the 40s?
Yeah.
30s.
Yeah. 30s? Yeah, I knew it was somewhere around there. Yeah. But that has an intermission in it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Look at Hamilton. And then I just posted Hamilton in the chat. There's 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I think part of that is 45 seconds of the intermission.
Well, Rex brings up another good point, and this is one that I think theaters might actually consider if they were able to... If they could allocate the bathrooms per theater you were in, so then it would make sense to have a monitor above the urinal or in the door of the stall of the movie that you're watching. But you can only do that if hey, you're in this theater, you're watching this movie, so you enter the theater here. By the way, this door right here that puts you under the seats, there's your restroom. So if you need to go during the movie and are worried about missing it, here's these monitors here so you don't.
Yeah, that would be difficult to institute because of you'd have people sneaking into the bathrooms more so than already happens in theaters.
Well, and that's where I say you put it, instead of the restrooms being out in the hallway, the door to the restroom is in the theater, off of the ramp, so the bathroom is under the main seating element of the theater you're in.
Yeah, but I mean, you're still going to have people sneaking into the theater and going into the bathroom or whatever, and that's going to be harder to monitor.
But they still have people sneaking into theaters now. So the monitoring aspect isn't going to be any different.
I'm not saying that they don't. I'm saying that is currently a problem, and this won't help it.
I don't know how many movies I've gotten into free because I just said, I'm going to go buy some popcorn. Go buy my popcorn and walk into a theater.
Yeah.
But why exactly don't we do it the easy way in that case? With each ticket, you get a catheter.
Oh
God.
Yeah, I think there's a biological hazard there for that one. And by the way, rodent no less name for 5 US. Intermission time, guys. Everyone has to pee. We're streaming in one way. I'm not gonna dual stream right now.
Don't cross the streams.
But we do have our own intermission coming up in about a half hour where this show will be over. But then we have the next installment, which is going to prove to be a nice and toasty one.
We're not even really done with this one yet.
No,
or
we're not.
the main topic of this one yet.
So God's Auditor, I have to ask, does this place have a name that might be under the franchise of McMinimans.
That actually sounds like the Lux level in the showcase theaters out this way.
Well, we have a group of restaurant slash bar slash hotel slash hostels out here. It is they basically buy old historic buildings and repurpose them. Like in Bend, Oregon, they bought an old Catholic school property and converted it into a hotel, hostel, bar, and movie theater. Where you go sit in the movie theater, you're sitting on old couches and chairs and love seats and stuff, and you can order alcohol, and they'll bring it to you, along with food from the restaurant. And I think it's like $1 for the movie.
I haven't been to those theaters that you're talking about, but the other dine-in theaters that I've been to, I haven't enjoyed the experience because the way that they have to be set up to allow the dining to work tends to mean that you get not as good of a screen and audio setup.
So the showcase cinemas that I've done, the Lux level, as they call it, you're in a beefed up lazy boy recliner on your own. So the Lux level is a balcony above the main theater. So you're getting the big screen, you're getting the good sound of the full theater, but you're in a much more comfy seat that reclines a bit, has a built-in pull-out little table, and a little button to call the waiter or waitress over to bring you any drinks or any food that you want at any time during the movie.
Nice.
And yes, alcohol is on the menu.
So, Jared, are you saying you can sit there in my comfort chair?
I miss balcony seating. I miss that being a thing.
Yeah, it has its moments at times. And Rodent, if you find a high quality enough one to play, we'll end the stream with it.
So this is what he's talking. This is what God's Auditor was talking about.
So now imagine that, except with a more padded recliner. That is actually really similar to the Lux level.
In theater dining. Yes.
I would be completely okay with that if you were to have headphones. Because something that makes me want to stab a motherfucker is when you hear people chew.
Well, so here's another nice thing with the Lux level. The seating is paired up. It is actually meant for like date night type stuff. So it's you and the person and one person you're with, and then you have a wide enough walkway around your seating area in all directions. And with the movie playing, you really don't hear the people in the next glorified love seat next to you all that much, unless they're being obnoxious assholes. And guess what? Lux level, they are more apt to kick your ass out of the theater if you're being obnoxious.
Is it like the Alamo in Texas?
Never been there. I'm not sure of the reference.
Oh man, they're famous for like they have things on their doors and stuff that say no cell phones allowed, no talking during the movie, no disturbances or whatever. We will kick you out, and they straight up do. If your phone rings, if you're on your phone, if somebody complains and can show that you were being a nuisance, you're out. No refund, no whatever, and they have like complaint calls from people to like their customer service line that they use for their commercials and stuff. It's actually really funny.
How can people make complaint calls about someone using their phone if you're
No,
not allowed
like-
to use your phone?
No. The person who was kicked out calling in to complain that they were kicked out because they were using their phone.
So this is summing up where we're at in the stream, I think. More
Yeah,
just
fair.
content.
Wait, is this that family in Russia that made absolutely no fucking sense why they were there in the original movie?
Yes.
Oh, one of them. Because remember, you had the entire fucking apartment complex as well.
All right. So, since we're kind of coming back on course here, let's talk about Superman's outfits.
Yes.
So we'll start with the original, and it was classic
Quite,
Superman.
Yeah, classic colors, rather vibrant. Typical Whedon.
Mm-hmm.
A bit too shiny, though.
Typical
flare.
Whedon.
And the like muscles in the suit just aren't needed.
Oh, but they are. You just don't realize it.
Okay.
But this is something that I like in the chapters, in the bit of vignettes. The chapter title before Superman is back, was...
All the King's horses.
No, that was before his resurrection. Afterwards, it was Something Darker.
Oh yeah.
And that fit perfectly because after what he went through and the resurrection and everything, it would make sense that the Clark Kent, the Superman that comes back, yes, he's Superman, but he's not exactly the same. He's not... He's changed. No different than someone in the military who had never been deployed but then goes to a combat area. Something changes after that deployment. You're still the same person, but there's something
off.
Yeah.
But the
Which,
problem was we never got really the good Superman.
Well, the point of the series leading up to this, the Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, then Justice League, was to show that you had the good Superman before.
When?
You saw his battle with
Man of
Batman
Steel.
and
Man of Steel, he wasn't though. He was like that whole movie is him not being the good Superman. He's told by his father not to help other people. He's like he kind of has the want to be the good Superman, but he's not there. Like,
well, and for this universe, for this telling of DC, that is it. You have that nature, that caring, compassionate, empathic nature of Superman in that bit that he's still holding on to it. He's still maintaining to it, and then he dies.
mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't think they gave him enough good.
I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to take the Christopher Reeves, the abysmal Brandon Routh version of Superman, where he is what the comics portrayed, the classic do no wrong, perfect superhero, so to speak. Even though in the comics you do.
The perfect American is actually how Superman was characterized from his outset through much of the comics.
And I mean that's his character, right? Like that is who Superman is. And not saying that there aren't comics that explore other aspects of him, or if he had gone different ways or whatever. But that is Superman. And to start off with not that, and then go further, like I don't know. You're taking away something from the character, and then saying, "Oh, but because it's Superman, he was that," even though we're never shown him being that.
Well, here's one glimpse of that Superman in this. scene right here.
Yeah, this is one of the major differences too between the original cut and the Snyder cut.
So, in the Snyder cut, you get Steppenwolf cutting into Cyborg, and Cyborg's like,
and just
meh.
takes it.
Yeah, because in the Snyder cut, Steppenwolf is a really fucking dangerous bastard. And we can see Cyborg just weathering it. He's even fucking making what's called Steppenwolf flinch by firing his alarm cannon at him. In this, though, we see Superman being, well, Superman. Getting hit with a fucking axe that has felt I don't know how many right now. And he doesn't even flinch.
I forgot what he said in the scene, but it was pretty much, oh, that basically like, ooh, you hit me with what, a fly swatter?
Ooh, that tickles.
Not impressed. And
then proceeds to use his cold breath and shatter it like it's nothing.
And actually, that's something I should have gotten a screenshot of that too, where he starts using his heat vision, and it cuts off one of fucking Steppenwolf's horns. He is done with his bullshit. He has seen so much of what's been going on, and he gives not a flying fuck anymore.
See, and Davros goes towards a bit of the foreshadowing with when they bring in the Joker and have that glimpse into the potential future that may happen in one of the next installments, that it was Superman who actually killed Joker. Batman, while on the verge of it, never did. But as soon as Joker crossed the line with Superman, dude, game was over. Fist through the chest, heart on the other side. And you get a lot of going towards that storyline, because in the back and forth that we get in that sequence between Joker and the Bat, you have Joker referencing the Killing Joke and him killing Robin.
Yeah, they had a reference of that in Batman v Superman, which somebody pointed out. Batman v Superman is not a fight; it's a legal case. Just true.
It is,
and
true.
I want to see that. I want to see that that legal procedural.
Ooh. But who do we get on each side? I'm thinking.
Falcon Wright, or Phoenix Wright. Sorry, and somebody else.
What about Legal Eagle?
Ooh,
and Leonard
okay.
and Leonard French, and have them be the legal representation for that one.
That could be cool.
That could be good, but I think if you want to do diametrically opposed YouTube lawyers, you either have to get, if you're doing Legal Eagle, you have to get either Robert Barnes or Nick Rekieta.
I'm not familiar with either of those two.
Robert Barnes works with Viva Frey a lot. On Sundays they have a weekly podcast, and then Nick Rekieta is just a small Minnesota lawyer who does his own commentary. Both of them are politically conservative, I would say. Rekieta was pretty much born and mostly raised down in Texas, but spent his latter formative years up in Minnesota.
So they defend Superman, and Legal Eagle has Batman.
Oh, Superman's winning that case hands down. I'm sorry. You could put Anthony Riley defending Superman in this case, and he's still going to beat Legal Eagle.
I mean, maybe I don't know. I'm not saying it versus their legal chops. I was just saying it because Legal Eagle seems like the more like high-powered attorney. Not saying
Well,
good or not, but
No. I
has
understand what you're
that
saying.
look.
It's funny because he actually was a corporate lawyer and gave it up for his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's still a what does he do now? He does some sort of attorney work, but it's I think it's like state work or something like that. I forget.
Burns is saying we need OPT lawyer in there. Who do you think the judge is going to be?
Exactly.
With this, we need Phoenix Wright and Mr. Sinister.
There you go. Oh.
And
We
for anyone
could
getting
have
that joke. Good luck.
we could have Matt Murdock on one side.
Like, getting back to the actual movie at hand,
Sorry.
God's Auditor brings up a good point. His favorite part of the recut version of the movie was in that scene, in that glimpse to the future scene, what Batman said to Joker when Joker was poking and really trying to get under his skin. And the way I would compare it is, Joker's in there trying to get him with the body blow. Batman is like, you know what? I've had enough. Haymaker, bitch.
Yeah, that was... And the look on the Joker's face when he tells him that is just like, I think I crossed the line here. And then you see what that vision entails, and you're like, well, fuck my life.
Yeah, and that glimpse, that scene really made me want to see more of what brought everything to it and where are they going to go from that moment, because it cuts off with Superman landing right there.
Standing up in glowing red eyes.
Yep.
And I hate to say it, seeing that scene, I'm actually willing to suffer through another bat flick. Ugh.
I know it's almost disconcerting how a well-told and well-crafted story like this can open up the door to watching something that you think is probably going to be garbage. on the hope that maybe they won't completely fuck it up.
Yeah. Batman gets Johnny Cochran with a Chewbacca defense. Might have a chance against Superman at that point.
I can just see one good thing about this, and that is we would not have to suffer more Jasons and Mosa in that case.
True, because part of it, instead of Aquaman being there, it's El Chickadee, although
I don't know that she's going to be playing that part anymore.
Off-screen things might put a wrench into that one.
I'm hearing rumors that that's happening, that wrench is happening.
Yeah, I am all for equality, even if some people don't like it when it affects them.
Yeah, it's almost like there are women out there that could actually abuse a man.
Yeah. Yeah. And they should be punished accordingly if they in fact did.
Oh, whoa. Come on now. We all know that there's no way a woman could beat up a man.
Yeah,
it's just not possible.
Yeah, well, I think we just might have to get a hold of Chesh for that one.
The judge will be Judge Judy. Oh, God.
There we go.
Interesting choice.
I think she would be the appeals judge.
Yes.
With this, though, and speaking of abuse, going forward, how will they do this? Because I would be really interested in seeing a movie with the different Jokers from different universes starting to fuck shit up. I'm talking
You know,
about.
that's actually would be a great storyline. Even if it doesn't make a movie, it would make a great comic book series or graphic novel.
Yeah, but say something like this. At this point in time, Michael Keaton would make a great Joker. He has both the mannerisms for it, as we can see in what's called in the latest movies like Spider-Man and stuff like that. And he knows the Joker from having played against him. And having played against one of the greatest Jokers too, in Jack Nicholson. We have the Heath Ledger Joker, which is, well, more unhinged, more trying to spread chaos for the sake of chaos.
God's Auditor is calling you out there, Jared.
Did you look at the reply?
Okay, that's a fair enough point. Although Rhoda
The knockoff
No Last Name has a
album.
good point. We need a new Judge Dredd movie. This time, Dredd is played by Judge Judy.
That could be interesting. Especially if you go with later in his career where he's been offered to be one of the head judges.
Willem
Willem
Dafoe.
Dafoe. What about Willem Dafoe? He does make an appearance in this cut of the movie.
He does.
And actually, a good part. I saw them like, I don't remember that scene in the first one. Okay.
Well, it's a scene that actually makes a lick of sense.
I know.
Different universe. You know,
Actually, that's something that we need another movie of. Another good movie of. Predator.
Oh yeah, it's been a while. I liked Predators.
Yeah, Predators is good. But
That was the last good
Predator,
one I seen. Oh no.
I got to the point where they were
Jesus.
starting to talk about the fucking kid having been sent the Predator gear. And he's
Yeah.
out there for fucking Halloween. And
wow.
I could not fucking keep watching after that.
Here you go, Muttley.
Can we get an RBG? Judge Dredd. That would be another good one.
You know, you put it out there, someone's gonna draw it.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I still stand by my original critique of the Flash, and this is the having that Ezra character play Barry Allen. I still think if they could have gotten the kid who plays Barry Allen in the Flash TV series, it would have been better.
Yeah.
I think he personifies the Flash better.
I honestly am tired of young Flash.
I
I'm
agree
tired.
with that too.
Like I want to go back to the comics where don't get me wrong, he doesn't have to be exactly the same or whatever. You know, there can be some translation or picking of, good actor. So if the hair color or something like that isn't blonde or something, I'm not going to get mad. But
You
but
just
I want
John Wesley Shipp as the Flash again.
I want a somewhat older Flash. Late 20s, mid 30s,
Early to mid 30s, average.
Yeah, average. Just seems like a normal dude, except, the fact that he's got the Speed Force.
Well, and that was the whole thing of Alan. And actually, this came up in a conversation either before or after the movie where, who was it? Luther and Barry Allen's, the consciousness switched. And Luther was like, oh, finally, I'm going to know who the Flash is. Takes off the mask. Who the fuck is this?
Yeah, that's one of the best things from the comics. Yeah.
So you want something similar to this style of presentation, the overall.
I mean, yeah, they can update the
outfit.
the suit, or he doesn't have to be that muscular or whatever, but the last, like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy the Flash TV show, but both the Flash TV show and the DCU incarnation of him has been this younger guy,
Awkward teen almost.
yeah, early
20s.
adulthood,
Yeah.
just starting his life, just figuring out his powers and stuff like that, and that worked for the TV show, but
Hold on.
oh god.
It's fine.
Oh, knowing who sent it, this is going to be fantastic.
What's the worst that could happen?
I don't know. What?
This.
Someone. Yeah, you're gonna have to zoom in a little bit. Flash body. Contain him at any cost. Oh, he's looking in the mirror. And that is part of the majesty of this, is you get the majority of the superheroes, their secret identities are some public figure in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I mean, as Captain America asked Iron Man once, take away your suit, what are you? Billionaire, philanthropist, playboy.
Great. Yeah, just
not wrong, but
You
also
forgot the evil. We all forget that there's also the other part of the line that they cut out. Evil scientist.
yeah.
But then you get someone like Barry Allen. Even the name is so freaking milquetoast average.
Yeah.
That his name is Barry.
It's just Barry. He's from DC's equivalent of like Kansas City. Like not even like a major city, right? Like Kansas City is a decent sized city, but even among big cities it's kind of a small one. Like
It's like comparing Seattle and Tacoma.
yeah. He's
Well, I
not
mean,
in New York. He's not in Detroit. He's not in L.A. or San Francisco.
I think actually technically he would be in. If I'm looking at the coastline right, he's supposed to be in California, and it's supposed to be the upper coast of California. So not
then
quite
they
San
changed
Francisco. Here, let's see if I can pull up a map of the DC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
US.
So,
Then they changed it because he used to be from Center City, which was or at least that's where he, like in the early days. So he was from which would have been like
Yes.
the Kansas City area.
like outside of Chicago, if you're using actual. But so, and yes, Davros has another good one. How about Batman? What's your superpower? I'm rich.
Yeah. I did like I heard that at one point he doesn't show up because he had to walk. in the 4-hour cut.
Well, so the fight at the end, at one point you actually are like, hey, Wonder Woman's there, Aquaman's there, Cyborg's there, now Superman's there. Where's the bat? And then you get this view of him kind of like catching his breath at the top of the cooling tower, just looking down at everything like, fuck.
I stand corrected. The way they make it look is with the in the Arrowverse is they make it look like Star City's here and Central City's down this way because they just have to catch a train.
Yep.
But in the actual comic books universe, you're looking right here.
Yeah, Central Midwest.
Yep.
Which makes sense for the most average of average of average.
Let me just.
Okay, Roden. Did you help get Gutsuck Gibbon in touch with cats? Is that what happened? Because I saw that earlier on Twitter, which I don't disagree with you. If someone wants to talk that nonsense, Erica is the perfect person to go against them.
What am I missing?
Evidence for Bigfoot.
Bigfoot exists.
Someone claims to have it.
I was told that he's the one who keeps stealing all my soup cans.
No, those are the underwear gnomes. They couldn't get the profit from the underwear, so they had to go to soup cans.
Oh, okay.
They still don't know what step 2 is.
It's a magical step. It's a bit of a doozy.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the first step that can trip you up. But whoa. So, is there anything else sticking out that anyone would like to comment on about the Snyder Cut?
Well, I don't think much else needs to be said other than the fact that it's better than the original. And again, it's all because of the actual story that's put in behind it, you know.
You mean the fact that there was an actual story put in behind it?
Oh, what the?
Yeah, that does help a bit.
Oh, really? Really?
Oh God, what do you?
Like, yeah.
Hold on.
Do I need to temporarily black out the screen?
No. But I won't play the audio. Just look at the title of the video.
Oh, yeah. I know this one.
Yes.
Oh wow. And this is one of those. Say what now?
This is actually done really well from being pulled from the comics.
Yeah, and the Green Lantern is pretty much trying to go through every superpower you can think of
Can you do
to
this?
ask what Batman has.
Can you do this? No. Can you do this? No. What about this? No. What about this, or this? No. What is your superpower? Money.
You also missed the scene where he pulls the ring off of Green Lantern because Green Lantern's not concentrating on it, so Batman's able to steal it from him.
There we go. How the hell? You're not just a guy in a bat suit, are you?
No. I'm a rich guy trained in martial arts in a bat suit.
Also, like, Alfred and Batman should not be the exact same or have like I think that there's been and I've heard stuff about the Snyder Cut where this happens, but it's not just that, where like some of the characterizations of Alfred either take away from Batman or take away from Alfred as a character.
Ask and you shall receive, at least the video part of this.
Yay. Yeah. he then goes on, like if you had the dialogue, he then goes on to explain exactly how the power works and everything. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like, how does this work? There's no buttons, so I assume it works off of concentration.
With this, though, and the way that Alfred is portrayed, I still say that the Tim Burton Alfred, apart from the animated series, is the best Alfred.
Oh yeah.
Especially with things like, well, when Bruce Wayne is sitting down to eat, and he's concentrating on something else, and he takes a fucking soup, and starts eating it, and complains about it being cold. To which Alfred replies, "It's gazpacho soup, sir. It's supposed to be cold." And he just keeps eating it. Because, well, it's explained that.
Wow. 10 years ago and 10 years, 10 days ago, that Alfred passed away in 2011 on March 17th.
That's fucking sad.
Yeah, he was 94 years old, though.
Yeah, he looked like he would have been the butler of a 30-year-old back then.
Well, he
Oh,
was...
also, go ahead, Jay.
I was going to say, he was born in Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah. Also, let's be honest. Like, we call them butlers, but they're not really butlers. They're gentlemen's gentlemen. It would be the proper British term.
True.
And
And
they're
and at the time of his birth, Kuala Lumpur was a British colony.
they're more than just like a servant.
They do more than just answer the door and let people in.
Yeah, or deliver food or whatever.
Well, the servant to the poor, butler to the great. Comforter, philosopher, and lifeline.
That? All right. So do we? Oh God. Do we want to consider this, which actually would be a masterstroke of forward thinking if they actually are able to pull this one off? God's Auditor says, "I'm kind of looking forward to Andy Serkis as Alfred. I'm hoping that all of these different versions are just a haphazard setup for the Infinity Crisis."
They could totally
Would
do it.
be nice.
I don't think they would execute it good.
Well, my one complaint about the entire thing is who they have playing Batman in that movie. Robert Pattinson. Sparkly vampire himself.
Yeah.
But at least he can act and emote.
Also,
Barely.
we're probably going to get a well, we're definitely getting multiverse stuff out of Marvel, and we're probably going to get a merging of multiverse type storyline out of Marvel. So DC trying to compete directly with that might be rough for them.
Okay.
If they don't do better.
Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle / Catwoman. I could dig it.
That's it. That could work.
Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
Okay. Not Danny DeVito, but okay.
Well, trying to think of who now you could get to play that part. Not the same way as Danny DeVito, but similar showmanship. Patton Oswalt, maybe.
Yeah.
Again?
Penguin.
Yeah, but again. Wait, was it the Penguin? Yeah, it was the fucking Penguin too. In Batman.
In Batman 2, it was Danny DeVito.
No.
Not in Batman. Not
In
Batman.
Batman.
The spoof one.
Oh, the spoof one. Hold on.
I did like the version of the Penguin. Yeah. I did like the version of the Penguin in the TV series Gotham. I thought that was an interesting portrayal of him.
God's Auditor is wondering when the fuck are we getting the multiverse?
Oh, from Marvel? That's going to be the next probably 3 phases. because like you've
Well,
got
They gotta
Doctor
shatter
Strange.
it. They gotta shatter it, which is what they've started doing now. So you
Yeah.
have to break it apart in the next phase, and
So-
then it'll be. So it's going to be a drawn out thing. But keep in mind, how long and how many different story arcs through the comics did they utilize it in?
Yeah. So one, technically there already exists a multiverse. We already have separation of the multiverse if you watch like the extended material on Marvel, so the different TV shows and stuff like that that are supposed to be connected. So there's already seeds for all of that there. There's small seeds of it in some of the movies. And so yeah, the next phase will probably be establishing it more as a thing to the broader audience, just the ones who are watching the movies, and how it's split and it being a problem and blah 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 whatever. And then because just like with the Infinity Stones, you've got to establish how big the threat is and everything like that. So that's why I say I think it'll be another 3 phases before you get the full extent of it. But Doctor Strange, which I think is scheduled for next year, is the title of it is Doctor Strange and Madness of the Multiverse or something along those lines. So we know it's coming.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The next, like I said, the next phase. So the next group of movies is them shattering it, and
Yeah, Doctor Strange in the multiverse of madness,
There it is. Thank you.
yeah. So
scheduled for 363 days from now.
nice.
Directed by Sam Raimi.
Yep.
That actually has some.
So it has a chance.
And on the filming for the new Spider-Man, they've seen Tobey Maguire, who was just there delivering food, guys. Yeah. So
Right.
there's thoughts that we're going to get the Spider-Verse with Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield in the new one. So which might be interesting, depending on how they pull it off.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe we'll get a return of the Ed Norton Hulk.
Okay, so question. I have Disney Plus. Do I watch
Yeah.
WandaVision first, or do I go with Falcon and the Winter Soldier first?
WandaVision's all out. You can binge it in about an hour and a half, or 4 hours and a half. I think is because the episodes are pretty short. It's 9 episodes. Falcon the Winter Soldier just started up. So far, they're not connected at all. So it's up to you.
WandaVision's has completed its run at this
Yeah.
point, so start with that. That way you don't have to worry about having to catch up too quickly. Yeah, even the chat is saying start with WandaVision.
Yeah, and it was really good. And
There is one thing though, which they will need to bring up, or bring in rather, when it comes to the stuff ahead. One very, very, very important thing.
Ring my bell to be a special subscriber.
Maybe
Nice.
Carrie's too. What's that little thing link there?
oh, what's this? Oh yeah.
Oh.
I-
Okay, yeah, they'll have to probably do that. I will share for everybody.
Because that thing right there is needed. If nothing else, for shits and giggles.
And that's the thing, in the manner that they're going about it, you could have a lot of fun with that. And that's the thing is, let the directors and the creative team have fun and enjoy what they're doing. They may not seem like they're having fun because holy fuck do they get to be uptight asshats at times. But let
them do their job,
exactly.
because
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Perfect. But yes, let them do what they are good at. Unless they're Michael Bay, J.J. Abrams, or any other one-trick pony out there, you might want to reconsider if you even bring them on to the project in the first place, because, well, they're kind of a known commodity at this point. But there are directors out there who know how to tell a story.
Yeah, stay away from the Ancient Aliens directors too, because I'm not saying aliens, but aliens.
Well, to be fair, they could get away with that in both the DC and MCU because, well, aliens are a thing in there.
Yeah.
This is true, but when in doubt.
It's always one of the big three, though.
I gotta let out the dogs. I will see you guys on VTW.
All right.
Okay.
And any
Take care, Jake.
other parting ideas while we bring this wonderful installation to an end?
We need them to make the movies longer with less action. And just have the action be something that is the culmination of a conflict.
It depends on the character.
Yeah, but if you have something with action all the fucking time, you get tired of it.
It depends on the character. And I mean, you don't have to watch those. Like, that's the good thing about the way that Marvel has set it up is you don't like those characters, don't watch their movies. And it's fine. It will barely affect you. But certain characters are just that action. Like that is what they are. Other characters aren't. And you're right. Not all the movies have to be just action.
But that's what you're getting
some
anyway
of them
now.
are.
It's action for the sake of action. It's like, okay, I want something nourishing to drink. I'm going to drink 10 fucking liters of water. Because, of course, that's exactly the same as drinking something that's actually nourishing.
I mean, I don't know.
Action without substance is just filler. It's worthless.
It's like I said to a person who is no longer a friend because apparently they didn't like hearing this. Action for the sake of action is never the correct choice. And that can be in a movie or that can be in real life and especially in politics.
Yeah.
With that, got any parting words there, Donkey?
Nope. This was fun.
So, with that, we are probably going to end up having another episode like this in the future, so keep an eye out. Until then, we are taking a short break, and we will be live in 25 minutes as we get to see who lit the match. Good night, everybody.